One.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has happened. Mike Evans is expected to sign a 3-year deal with the San Francisco 49ers. Just moments after Shrake said, hey, this Evans deal is coming soon. And he believes that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are now out of the conversation for Mike Evans. Adam Schefter says, while you're saying that, Shrakes, let me actually tell you what's happening. The Niners now have a first ballot Hall of Famer, a man who has been able to accomplish great things no matter who's playing quarterback, has won a Super Bowl, has experienced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the top all the way down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's heading to San Francisco with a litany of weapons and an offense with Brock Purdy guiding it that can certainly put up ridiculous numbers. Him now going deep down the field for Shanahan and Purdy. Good night. Maybe the Niners make a run at this thing. Let's go into the free agency frenzy zone with the man who put that tweet out. Schefty, what's the deal? How do we get here, pal?
Well, the Niners have needed help at wide receiver. Look, they're moving on from Brandon Ayuk this offseason. Everybody knows that. They have a situation where Deebo Samuel left last year. So really, Ricky Pearsall is their proven wide receiver. They wanted a veteran presence out there. Mike Evans was interested in leaving Tampa for a variety of factors. And at the Combine, the word on the street all along was that he was interested in leaving. Now, he lives in Houston during the offseason. A lot of people thought initially maybe the Texans. But the Niners are the team that was interested in him. And they were talking today. And I think the hang-up, as we alluded to before, was they were coming together on a deal, and then there was a hiccup like, wait, hold on. We thought you could do this, or we thought you could do that. And they had to work through that. Now, it's going to be a 3-year deal. It's really a shorter-term deal than that, but it's going to be called a 3-year deal for cap purposes. And this is an emotional departure for both Mike Evans and the Buccaneers. This was the very first draft pick that the Buccaneers general manager Jason Light made in Tampa. Mike Evans is going to be in their Ring of Fame. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He is an elite wide receiver. For him to leave an organization like that, he just felt like he wanted to try something else, wanted to be in a different offensive system, wanted to see what life was like elsewhere. And so he now will finish his career in San Francisco as a focal part of their offense. The 49ers were in the market for a wide receiver, Mike Evans, to the 49ers on a 3-year deal.
A lot of turnover in Tampa Bay at the offensive coordinator role. Obviously, Baker Mayfield now has been his quarterback for the last couple of years. Tom Brady, Jameis Winston, the list goes on and on. He'll go out there with Kyle Shanahan's offense and Brock Purdy ready to slice and dice. I'm excited to see what Shanahan does with him. I think he's probably pretty excited as well. Let's head over to the free agency fun zone. Schrags thought the deal was coming quick and said maybe a sleeper team. I think we brought up the Niners, but still didn't necessarily expect it. Why did they make this play, Schrags? And what does this mean, Orlovsky?
That was so fun, and that is why we do this thing in real time.
Come on.
I was hearing that the Buccaneers were out. Well, why were they out? Because seconds later, we find out that the 49ers had closed the deal. I can't stress it enough, and Adam's done it, and I know at home you'll be rolling your eyes. The sentimental connection between Mike Evans and that franchise is so strong, stronger than what Brady had with them, stronger than what Gronk had. This is a guy who's been there all these years, ups and downs, and is now finally leaving. And it was like, if you love someone, you let them go. And at some point, the Buccaneers said, you know what? If we're going to make an end, okay, go on and explore other options. Derek Gilmore is the agent. He's been with them all along. They worked the deal out, and there were many other interested parties. But 3 years they get on Mike Evans, and he goes to the 49ers, who, yes, were eliminated from the playoffs in a divisional round, but were so injured last year down the stretch. He believes he can still win and still make that top dollar money with the 49ers. I like the fit, but of course it's free agency frenzy on a Monday. I like all the fits.
I love the fit for San Francisco. I love the fit for San Francisco. San Francisco, McCaffrey, and as great as CMC is, he led them in basically every offensive category this year, or this past season. Too much of a burden on that football player. So now Mike comes there, Pearsall there. They're probably going to lose Juwan Jennings, who's their dog at wide receiver, do-it-all type of guy. So now Mike is back. Last year's the first year that Mike didn't have 1,000 yards receiving, and I think 11 seasons. And that's because of injury. It wasn't because he can't play anymore. And so I love the fit in that regard. For Tampa's perspective, it's their own fault in a good way. It's because all they do is draft good players. They've drafted McMillan. They've drafted Egbuka. They drafted Tez Johnson. And so they've got these other young players that are really talented that make it, I don't want to say easier, but you can justify not overspending for Mike in this situation because you've got people in the waiting. And so, dude, I knew teams that wanted to get in on Mike Evans. I know the Bills wanted in Mike Evans. I know the Rams wanted in on Mike Evans. I know that the 49ers wanted in Mike Evans. So I think it's an outstanding signing. And think of Mike Evans down in the red zone with Kyle Shanahan, who's one of the great red zone game plan design guys in the history of the league.
Schrags, what's that number going to look like quickly?
I would think it'll be north of 25 a year. I mean, that's the numbers that he's demanding, and that's a guy that,
good for him.
With this salary cap the way it is, that is something that he can guarantee. I mean, hey, look, they're going to be obviously moving on from Ayuk. They left. The Debo's gone from last year, and Jawan Jennings is a free agent. So there is room to spend. And you say Ricky Pearsall at one wide receiver. You throw this guy on his second.
Kittle comes back.
Caleb comes, and obviously you get Kittle back. You get Juszczyk back. You suddenly put this thing together, and it's like, all right, 49ers in a wide open NFC. We talk about the Rams and the Seahawks. All right, how about Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers still planting their flag and saying, we're not going anywhere yet?
What does it look like in a Shanahan offense with Mike Evans? How do you think he is used? Because, we got a lot of like, hey, we need you to do exact stuff. Or is Evans there to go ahead and take one of the safeties out of the box so everything else can open up? How does he directly affect everything else going on whenever you're trying to game plan this Niners team?
Yeah, when you talk to defensive coaches or defensive players, they'll tell you Kyle Shanahan probably puts the most problems in front of him as far as game planning and calling plays. But at some point, it comes down to the players and the mismatches. And Mike Evans, we all talked about an all-time great, over 13,000 yards, over 100 touchdowns. He's going to be a mismatch as long as he's lacing them up, especially when you get down in that red area. Like, he's not going to be separating from guys like he used to. He can still run, and you throw that ball up, and it's a rebound. So you have different guys on that offense that can create mismatches, whether it's the fullback with Juice, whether it's Kittle when he's healthy. C-Mac, he's a mismatch for anyone that's guarding him. So now whoever they draft or whoever they bring in on part of that wide receiver core, they can sit in a room and learn from Mike Evans week in and week out, because you don't have just these guys, falling out of the sky.
Can he still play?
I think he can still go, because the type of guy that he is, the body that he has, like I said, he's not a guy who's going to be taking the top off of defense like he did 5 or 6 years ago, but even when he's covered, he's not.
Oh, okay. There is more. Former Browns linebacker Devin Bush reached agreement today on a 3-year, $30 million deal that includes $21 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears, per agent Drew Rosenhaus. Listen, they were good at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. Then they got better. They're looking to become the best, okay? And they'll never let it rest until that good becomes better, which it has, and then their better becomes their best. And that's Ben Johnson football, baby, in a nutshell. 3 years, $21 million guaranteed for Devin Bush. Feels like a good deal for him. How big was the market? Tone, what's up, bud?
So he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers as a top 15 pick. The Steelers moved up to draft him. It didn't work out there. He bounced around a bit, had his best season by far last year with the Browns, playing next to Carson Schwetzinger, who won Defensive Player of the Year. Devin Bush played really, really good last year. And then on the Bears side, they're letting Edmonds walk, so he just kind of fills in right for them. It's a really good fit for them.
Great deal, too.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You just talked about it not working out. Like,
it did not.
He could have easily been written off, so kudos to him fighting back. A Michigan man, a South Florida guy as well, so a lot of, I guess, ties in this building. I'm really happy to see this deal for Devin Bush, and I think it'll be great for the Bears as well, because they struggled from a linebacker standpoint. They had a lot of injuries in that position. You mentioned Edmonds moving on. Great pick for him.
Yeah, you're talking about Michigan man. Let's go to another Michigan man on maybe the deets. How many teams are in on Devin Bush? Let's go to Adam Schefter. Schefty, what are we hearing about the Devin Bush deal now making him a Chicago Bear?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The Cleveland Browns were interested in bringing him back, and the Chicago Bears have been looking to upgrade their linebackers. I think this is a breakthrough in the linebacker market. If we look at some of the linebackers that are out there right now, Pat, you're going to start to see some movement on some of these guys right now. Guys like Quay Walker, Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean, Leo Chanel, Caden Ellis. A lot of good linebackers still out there. Alex Singleton, Bobby Wagner. So I think this is going to help break up some of the logjam. Again, 2.5 hours in. But we're used to so much activity at this point in time. But the Bears wanted to add a linebacker. They identified Devin Bush, and now they have reached agreement with him on that deal.
$1.4 billion, $30 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Good
is
math
at
there.
least-
Well
thank you.
done.
Thank you. I'd had to get the proper comma. Let's go over to the free agency fun zone. Schrags and Orlovsky, any thoughts on Devin Bush going to the Bears? And how about the Bears immediately becoming a team that I think, good decision. Wouldn't have thought that a couple years ago. Now with Poles and Ben Johnson, there's already immediate credibility because of success.
I will say this, the Cleveland Browns wanted Devin Bush back. So that is a great signing by the Chicago Bears to not only pay him the money, but to recruit him and to get him over there to that defense. Devin Bush, like Tone said, wasn't the first round pick necessarily for the Steelers they had hoped after that first year, but last year completely rebuilt his career. If you're a Bears fan, you're like, Devin Bush, father played in the NFL, and last year was an excellent linebacker for the Cleveland Browns, so much so that they thought he was going to be a core piece of this defense if they could bring him back. They couldn't retain him. He now goes to the Chicago Bears. I think it's a great signing.
Schrags, what's on deck real quick, Schrags? What's on deck, you think, in your mind, if you had to project like you did before with Mike Evans? That was beautiful, by the way.
That was really
Well
good
done,
TV.
everyone.
That was good TV to the second. That was fun. That was good. Schefty with the home run at the end, getting the team in the time.
Hey,
It was
that's
fun.
USA Baseball.
That's right.
That was it, beautiful.
Yep.
That was good. Honestly, I'm very curious to see, and I think Schefty mentioned this, when you start talking about that linebacker group, and Devin Bush goes, that's of course, but this is a really good group of linebackers this year with Devin Lloyd, Quay Walker, and we know Caden Ellis and Nakobe Dean are on the board. All of those guys, we've already seen a couple go with Anzalone and Bush, but those are the names that I'm watching. Not as sexy maybe as the quarterbacks, but when you have the linebacker play and some big names, who's going to start going now that we've got two off the board?
Go ahead, Dan. Oh, sorry about that, buddy.
No, you're good. It's also kind of the age of football right now in the NFL. Years ago, you would have never imagined someone within the first hour of free agency hitting, how much did Kenneth Walker get? 40 million? 30 plus million?
Yeah.
Signing a running back to 30 plus million. ETN going north of 50. Linebackers for going for 30.
Linderbaum.
Yeah, so it's just like kind of, I agree. The linebackers are kind of the guys that are next. But I still sit there and I go, okay, where are these agreements going to come with some of these receivers that are still out there now that the Mike Evans addition has been signed? Some of the tight ends that are out there now that the Mike Evans addition has been signed. And
Schefty has reported Mike Evans goes for a 3-year, $60.4 million.
that's not bad.
Jeez. 20.125.133 million
Be some
per
more
year.
details come out, though.
Yeah, because that's going to be front loaded. We assume this will be a salary cap gymnastics, 3 years if we had to guess. He said north of 25 is what he was hearing, so we could assume probably 50 million over the first 2 years here, 10 million for the third year potentially, however they decide to kind of structure it out. John Lynch is a madman. Obviously, he's able to accomplish these things. What a weapon for them. I love that move, Con man. And the Patriots, eerily quiet. Eerily quiet in this whole thing, mostly because I think you've been so excited about making a move. Just because last year you guys made moves. In years past, you guys have made moves. We thought that was going to happen again with the Patriots because where you guys lie. Instead, a little bit more cerebral. Are you bummed out or excited?
No, very excited, especially just because Mike Vrabel's at the helm. You know it's probably the right decision. Yeah, I don't have to be worried like I have been in years past. I can just trust, especially because there are players out there that are trade targets. Grenard in Minnesota, A.J. Brown still out there. Move that happened early, probably one of the bigger names. Carolina Panthers feel like they went from a good football team to possibly that's a great football team.